In the first few minutes, your heart rate begins to climb, your pupils dilate, and at the peak, for a matter of seconds, the part of your brain responsible for self-control goes quiet. You don't lose your mind during sex. Your body just borrows it. This has been happening for hundreds of millions of years, long before there were words for it, long before there were laws, rituals, or love songs built around it. The cascade of events that unfolds inside you during sex is ancient machinery. It was never designed for pleasure. Pleasure is just how it gets you to cooperate. Here is what is actually happening. In 1957, a gynecologist named William Masters and his research assistant Virginia Johnson began the most controversial scientific project of the 20th century. They invited hundreds of volunteers into a laboratory in St. Louis. They connected them to electrocardiographs, electroencephalographs, and instruments Masters had built himself. And they watched. Over a decade, Masters and Johnson observed more than 10,000 orgasms. What they found was not chaos. It was a sequence. Precise, repeatable. The same in men and women. They called it the human sexual response cycle. 4 phases: excitement, plateau, orgasm, resolution. Your body has a script, and it runs the same program every time. The first phase begins before you are fully aware it has started. Your autonomic nervous system shifts modes. This is the part of your nervous system that runs without your input. It has 2 branches: the sympathetic system, your fight or flight engine, the parasympathetic system, your rest and digest state. Here's the part nobody talks about. Arousal begins in the parasympathetic system. Arousal begins in calm, not excitement. Calm. Blood flow increases to the genitals. Heart rate rises gently. The body is not in emergency mode yet. It is preparing. And somewhere in this first phase, without any instruction from you, your pupils dilate. Researchers at the University of Essex confirmed what scientists had suspected for decades. Pupil dilation is directly and reliably linked to sexual arousal. It is involuntary. You cannot stop it. Your eyes betray you before you have said a word. The second phase is the body deepening its commitment. Heart rate climbs further, blood pressure rises, muscles begin to tense. In the hands, the feet, the face, the 2 branches of your autonomic nervous system are now trading control. The parasympathetic manage the opening. The sympathetic is taking over. The same system that activates when you are being chased is the system that drives you toward orgasm. Your body does not distinguish well between terror and desire, not at the level of the nervous system. Then comes the moment everything changes. Orgasm. In physiological terms, it lasts between 3 and 15 seconds. The sympathetic nervous system fires completely. Heart rate spikes. In some studies, up to 170 beats per minute. Every major muscle group contracts rhythmically. The brain releases a surge of dopamine through the mesolimbic pathway. The same reward circuit that fires when you eat, when you win, when a craving is finally satisfied. Oxytocin floods in. Endorphins follow. And something quieter happens in the brain. Research by neuroscientists Giannico Georgiadis and Morton Kringelbach found that orgasm produces temporary deactivation in the lateral orbitofrontal cortex. This is the region responsible for self-monitoring, for behavioral control, for the ongoing management of how you appear to others and to yourself. For a few seconds, that system goes offline. The French have a phrase for this: la petite mort, the little death. It is not metaphor. It is closer to physiology than poetry. The endorphins deserve a moment. Barry Komisaruk, a neuroscientist at Rutgers University, spent decades studying the relationship between sex and pain. What he found is remarkable. Genital stimulation measurably raises the threshold at which humans detect and feel pain. Not slightly, significantly. The endorphins released during sex bind to opioid receptors in your brain. They work biochemically, not entirely unlike morphine. You are, briefly, your own painkiller. And pain and orgasm activate some of the same brain regions. The brain does not have a dedicated pleasure system. It has a salience system, a network for registering what matters most right now. During orgasm, that network is fully lit. Then it ends. Heart rate drops. Muscles release. Breathing slows, prolactin rises in the bloodstream, associated with satiation, the blunting of desire, the quiet that follows. For men, this comes with a refractory period, a window during which the body refuses to restart the sequence. For women, that window is far shorter, or sometimes absent entirely. This asymmetry is not random. It is older than either of you. Most mammals have estrus, a brief window of fertility that is visibly, chemically advertised to every male nearby. The female chimpanzee, your closest primate relative, develops a large, vivid swelling around ovulation. There is no ambiguity. Every male knows exactly when reproduction is possible. Human females have concealed ovulation, no visible signals, no pronounced behavioral cues, and human females are sexually receptive year-round. Evolutionary anthropologists Alexander and Noonan proposed in 1979 that this is not an accident. A male who cannot identify when a female is fertile must stay close to her continuously, and a female who maintains continuous receptivity gives her partner reason to stay. The constant availability of sex in this reading is the evolutionary mechanism for pair bonding. Not romance, not love. Sex first. Then eventually, those other things grew around it. Think about that for a moment. Every phase of what happens to you during sex, the pupil dilation, the autonomic takeover, the pain suppression, the cortex going quiet, the oxytocin, the fatigue that follows. None of it evolved for your benefit. It evolved because the organisms who experienced it reproduced, who stayed, who came back. You are the descendant of every creature that found this worth repeating. The pleasure is real. The chemistry is real. But underneath both of them is something older and more mechanical. A program written over millions of years that your body runs without asking permission the moment the conditions are met. You do not decide to want this, you inherit it. William Masters died in 2001. Virginia Johnson outlived him by 12 years. Between them, they spent decades studying something most of the world refused to discuss. And they found order where everyone assumed there was only chaos. 4 phases, a sequence. The same in almost every human body, almost every time. The machine is old, older than language, older than the species. And somewhere, right now, it is running.